guys, Hello guys, Ashen Gameplays, I'm Fabio Pisco and welcome to my channel. So if it is the first time that you're watching my channel, whew, God save your soul. Now seriously, today we have a video of the RX 5600 XT versus the 6600 versus the 6600 XT. So the point of this video is telling people with the 5600 XT, for example, if they are kind of side grading or upgrading, going to both the 6600 and the 6600 XT, okay? That's what I want to show, if it is worth it, the upgrade, if the upgrade is worth it, sorry, or not, okay? And well, before going into the results, if you can lay an eye on this video that I released recently of the top 5 upcoming games of 2022 and 2023. It is a very nice video with several games that you may not know that are coming, and they are very nice, okay? It's a new kind of video that I'm trying to actually implement in this channel, and it is really cool. And what also is cool, GVG Mall, where using my SKG discount code leads to a 25% off across several products, making a Windows 10 serial key only $16. After the payment, you'll receive the key in your account, and all you need to do is to introduce it in your Windows settings, and bam! You have an activated system. So guys, let's go to the benchmarks. Today's first game is Gears 5 using the X12 and Ultra settings. As shown in the GPU specifications part, although the 6600 runs almost 1 GHz above the 5600 XT, it also has way less TMUs, ROPs and compute units, not even talking about less bus width of 128-bit bus versus 192-bit bus, on the 5600 XT of course. And that's what leads us to the results presented here, where the old 5600 XT actually performs equal or better than the 6600, both being completely demolished by the 6600 XT. Funny enough, doesn't matter the resolution, the RX 6600 just wouldn't benefit a single FPS from smart access memory in this title, while the 5600 XT had a little boost, and the 6600 XT had a massive one at 1080p and a good one at 1440p. In this game, the new RX 6600 loses to the previous generation RX 5600 XT, which is a bummer. Now we have Horizon Zero Dawn using the X12 and Ultra settings. In this game, the RX 6600 manages to take the lead over the 5600 XT. Not by much, but it does. All cards here benefit from using smart access memory, being the 6600 XT the only one having a massive increase at 1080p. At 1440p, the 5600 XT performs once again very closely to the 6600, and at 4K, the 5600 XT finally takes the lead. But still, the difference in between these cards in this particular title wouldn't be noticeable in real-world gameplay, being the 6600 XT the only one bringing way better results. Now we have Assassin's Creed Valhalla using very high settings preset. This game is the exact opposite of Gears 5. In here, the 6600 already performs quite faster than the 5600 XT at stock, and using Smart Access Memory actually pushes it even further to the stock 6600 XT levels. Still, using Smart Access Memory with the 5600 XT in this game actually has a cost of 2 FPS on averages and 1% lows across all resolutions. At 1440p, the 6600 still has a good lead over the 5600 XT, and at 4K they perform the same due to the limited hardware on the 6600.
Hole hidden behind that poster that leads to the real world. We all feel safe in that room. But sometimes something crawls out from behind the poster. And the ones that see it happen freak out.
For Remedy's control, we're also using the X12 and high settings, which are the maximum ones apart from ray tracing. This is another game that prefers physical hardware over cache and frequency, and that is why we have the same scenario as in Gears 5, where the 6600 has the edge over the 5600 XT at 1080p, but as soon as we go to higher resolutions such as 1440p and 4K, the results are virtually equal, with the RX 6600 XT being the only card capable of delivering 60 average FPS at 1440p and 30 at 4K. Well, like I say in almost all my videos, Red Dead Redemption 2 is an astonishing game in several aspects, and if you haven't played it yet, well, you should. In terms of results, we see that at 1080p the 6600 is 13 average FPS over the 5600 XT and 17 FPS over in the 1% lows, in this case the minimums, with the 6600 XT pushing almost as much FPS in the 1% lows as the 6600 pushes in average, which is insane. At 1440p the 6600 still leads over the 5600 XT with equal results at 4K, being the 6600 XT once again much faster than both cards, as expected. Forza Horizon games always bring me interesting results in terms of GPU benchmarks, and Forza Horizon 5 isn't the exception. Almost all GPUs I've tested so far in this game have shown massive performance boosts at 1080p when using Smart Access Memory, being the RX 5600 XT the first GPU that got absolutely no FPS boost. I even tried different driver versions, but it was a no-go. I think that's maybe due to the fact that this game is very VRAM intensive and the 5600 XT only has 6GB VRAM. But well, the only thing that's certain is that the 6600 is massively faster than the 5600 XT in this title, with a difference of 30 average FPS at 1080p and having more FPS in the 1% lows than the 5600 XT has for averages. At 1440p and 4K we still have good performance boosts for both the RX 6000 series cards, being the 6600 XT the only one achieving 60 average FPS at 4K.
Proceed to customs without undue delay.
Now with Cyberpunk 2077. Now seriously, Cyberpunk 2077 using the high settings preset in the Nomad beginning. This is another game that doesn't care much about frequencies, but instead pure hardware power. And that's why we see once again the 6600 losing to the 5600 XT. But this time it even happens at 1080p. which is a first. As the resolution goes up, the 6600 just gets more and more behind the 5600 XT, with the same being only 7 average FPS behind the 6600 XT at 1440p and practically as fast at 4K. But I mean, it's 20 FPS, it's like almost visual pollution. Let's move on.
Can be a little rough. Move around a bit to make sure you didn't break anything.
In terms of shooters, we have Call of Duty Warzone using max settings with ray tracing off. Just remember this was tested in the orientation mission for the results to be really GPU-sided. This because in most scenarios playing the actual game, you're prone to be CPU or RAM bottlenecked. In here we have almost the same usual pattern, with the 6600 being faster than the 5600 XT at 1080p, tying or winning short at 1440p, and actually losing by a bit at 4K. Even in this game, the only card able to do 4K over 60 FPS is the RX 6600 XT, but the other two cards are around the mid-50s, which is quite impressive for these cards if you ask me. For another shooter, Rainbow Six Siege, using the Vulkan API and Ultra settings. Once again, the same exact pattern, with the 6600 XT being way faster than the other two cards in all resolutions, and being also the only card having a small benefit from Smart Access Memory, with the 6600 actually losing performance in the same scenario. And if you don't really care about 4K but you do have a 1440p panel, then all these cards will give you at least 160 average FPS. Excellent performance in this title. For the final game, we have God of War using the X11 and high settings. Now, take these results with a grain of salt because both the RX 6600 and 6600 XT need to be retested since the game introduced GPU culling in recent patches, improving their performance a bit. Still, we see the 6600 is faster than the 5600 XT even in the older patches, meaning that after the updates, the 6600 is performing even better. Even going to 1440p ultra-wide, the RX 6600 is still faster than the 5600 XT and most likely even faster now due to the GPU culling. And once again, the 6600 XT is the only one able to do 60 average FPS at 1440p ultra-wide, even at just high settings. Let's move to the conclusion now. So guys, what do you think about the results? Well, from what I've seen and in my opinion, okay, the 6600 XT, if just a bit more expensive, is the way to go if you want to upgrade from the 5600 XT, because in most scenarios it is a big upgrade. And the 6600 non-XT is basically just a side grade from the 5600 XT. And in some scenarios it is even performing worse than the 5600 XT due to having way lower hardware. To way less hardware, yes, we can say that it has indeed way less hardware. If you go to the GPU specifications, which is also in the timestamps, you can see that in terms of TMUs, ROPs, compute units and everything, and now my cat is back, ROPs, compute units, ROPs and everything, basically the 6600 just has way less of everything in comparison to the 5600 XT, okay? It just has way less. And the only thing that the 6600 just has more is cache, due to the infinity cache, and cache and frequency, and obviously a better architecture, RDNA 2 in comparison to RDNA 1, and obviously the VRAM capacity, which is 2 GB less. But apart from that, the 5600 XT has more of everything, and that's why in some really heavy games, like for example Cyberpunk, Gears 5, Remedy's Control, the 5600 XT is actually faster at 1440p and above due to that. And well, in terms of current pricing, the 5600 XT can't be bought in most stores, so you can only buy the 6600 or the 6600 XT, and usually the XT version is just a bit more expensive than the non-XT version, so it is completely worth to buy the XT version over the non-XT version in most scenarios, okay? But if you can find a really cheap 5600 XT, then maybe you want to pick one. If not, the 6600 XT is the way to go. And well guys, my cat is just always here, coming to me then going away. He does what he wants. Anyway, hope you really enjoyed the video. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share this video because that really helps a lot. And see you in the next one. And like I told you before, I have one card yet to be released, and it is a top tier one. So once it gets released, you can expect GPU comparisons, a review and many other things like the overclocking and undervolting guides, 25 games on that card, and so on. Thanks a lot and see you in the next video, guys.